I, 25 female, took my sister, teen, to coffee on Friday to catch up and spend time together. All was well until she began telling me how much she hated spending time with me as a kid. She exclaimed how all that I cooked was Kraft Dinner, boxed mac and cheese every day, and that she hates it now. She added about how I was so bossy and never played with her, etc. The initial remark was whatever, but the constant poking fun at me got to me, and I corrected her. I told her that I was a kid when she was born, and I had to care for her because my mom didn't come home every night. I told her that I was just a kid, trying to figure out how to change diapers from reading the Huggies box, how I was cooking her Kraft Dinner every day because I was little and she was hungry. My mom had a terrible addiction problem, and we were taken away when I was 14, and we were each both given to our dads. We have different ones. They never told her the details, so it was only her memory, and it was so hard for me. I had been raising her for 5 years, and I felt like she was my own. I told her I'm sorry I did a poor job raising her, and no, it wasn't enjoyable, but I was just a kid too. Part of me didn't want to shatter whatever childlike memory she had about our lives together, but it was too much to carry and also be made fun of for it. She was super nice about it, and honestly we bonded a lot since then and talked again. I found out that her stepmother lied to her about me contacting her to see her and telling her I didn't reply. I have never been approached to see my sister. She said she was confused by her memories, but it made more sense now and that she loved me. 2 days later, our mom, who is 5 years sober now, called me screaming about how I got my sister taken from her because I was jealous she got more attention and I was trying to ruin my mother's life. I told her that I'm not the one who called CPS. My sister's father was, and she just kept screaming and saying that I had no right to, quote, dump that on your sister. She has custody of my sister again just this year. Am I the idiot for outing how terrible our childhood was? I would have loved for my sister not to be hurt or affected by it, but I couldn't bear the blame I was getting. Was it selfish? I thought she'd be old enough to hear the gist of it. Edit. About the unrelated CPS call, my mom blames me because she thinks that I ratted her out when I was 14, and that's why my sister's dad found out about the situation to call them. She used the fact that I told my sister now as evidence that I snitched on her, and that's why we don't have a relationship. I didn't think I was wrong at first, but then she's my mom, and it felt awful for your mom to be screaming at you that you are the idiot. Not the idiot. Your sister deserves to know the truth about her childhood, because no doubt she was affected by it, even if she doesn't remember it. I'm the little sister in your scenario, and it took a long time for me to process through therapy, and I'm still working on it 15 years later. But I couldn't have done that if I didn't understand what happened. You did the right thing. Your mom is just taking her guilt out on you. It's understandable that your mom was embarrassed or ashamed to have the truth come out, especially now that she's sober. However, even if she stays sober for the rest of your life and spends that time making amends, it doesn't change the past. You and your sister were hugely, tragically, unfairly affected by her struggles in profound ways. Your sister at her age deserves to know the truth, considering the adults have all been lying to her. The stepmom claiming you never responded to outreach? What is that? You do not deserve to be the family scapegoat for your mother's addiction and your father's, both dads, inaction to protect their children before it reached the point of a child parenting a baby. It looks like your mother still has the same wonderful parenting skills now that she had back then. You should go NC with Mommy Dearest, because while she may be sober, she is still toxic. If she doesn't have one, buy your sister a phone and call her directly to cut your mother out of the loop. Continue telling sis the truth no matter who it hurts. Refuse to build your relationship with sis on lies. I am 36 female. I recently moved into a new house with my husband, 37, which is in a nice suburban neighborhood. Originally, there was no problem, and then trouble arose. Our neighbors on one side consist of a father and 4 kids. They seem nice enough and quiet. I don't know how old the kids are, but there are 2 tween boys and a younger girl and boy. When it happened, my husband was at work, and I was driving home. As I was driving down the street, I saw one of the older boys walk into my yard, bend down, pick up a ball, and go back to his house. I was angry because I was raised with the idea of never trespassing into someone's yard like that without permission. I confronted the boy, and he said he was sorry, but you could tell he really didn't mean it. So I went and talked to his father, and I didn't get anywhere there. He didn't seem to take me seriously at all and told me that I was overreacting. I felt like he was invalidating my feelings, and I snapped and told him that he better not let his kids trespass in my yard again. Otherwise, I would call the police. And he called me an idiot, so he escalated into name-calling first and shut the door in my face. I'm angry. My husband hasn't said much, but he's promised to install security cameras. So I want to know, am I the idiot here? Wait, so all he did was walk into your yard to retrieve a ball? This is making you sound like the villain of a children's cartoon. You are the idiot. It's not that big of a deal. Yeah, I had a neighbor like this growing up. I was always confused by why she lived in a neighborhood if she couldn't handle the occasional ball landing on her grass, people playing music in the middle of the day, or a dog barking when playing with its owner in the yard without calling the police. So I was very happy when I saw her wheeled away into an ambulance. She needed help. I don't want to be enemies for no good reason. Too late. You destroyed any chance of a positive or even natural relationship with this neighbor. Also, suppose he talks to the other neighbors, since you are new to this neighborhood. In that case, it's going to be very difficult to make friends with anyone in the neighborhood. I'd suggest making a buttload of cookies or something and taking it next door, offer a sincere apology, beg for forgiveness, and a chance to start fresh. Wow, I expected she caught them camping in her yard, swimming in her pool, this type of thing. But OP is annoyed a kid went to her yard to retrieve his ball? You are the idiot. Judging by the post, yard is not fenced in or gated. Is he supposed to wait potentially for hours for you to get home so he can retrieve his ball? No, he goes and grabs it and walks back to his house with literally no harm done. The dad called you an idiot because you were being one. 2 years ago, I won a considerable sum in the lottery. Not a scratch-off, the real lottery, to the tune of many millions of dollars. My state does not allow anonymity, and I have many relatives who are less than financially responsible. I knew if I didn't do something, I'd spend the rest of my life being badgered, so I set up a trust for my extended family with a good chunk. How it works is if the family has an emergency, they can call the trustee and ask for funds, and they assess the need and gives them the money if it meets the terms set in the trust. It's to be used in situations like someone is behind on bills, medical debt, unexpected car repairs, etc. It's to help them get through tough times or major life events, not for vacations or luxury purchases. One of my cousins, let's call him Dale, applied for $75,000 for a brand new loaded pickup truck. He was denied. This was neither an emergency nor was it necessary, as he had a perfectly fine vehicle. They offered $5,000 to help with the down payment and taxes, and he accepted and bought the truck. This was 6 months ago. The trustee brought to my attention today that Dale has never made his own payment for the truck. He waits 2 months until he's behind and then applies for help. They gave him the first 2 months the benefit of the doubt, but now that it's happened a third, they're rightfully suspicious. I told them to advise Dale that he can no longer get assistance for his truck payment and to give him some information on how to return it if he cannot afford it, and that we would help, within reason, get him a much cheaper vehicle that he could afford. Well, this morning his sister Jessie sent me a screenshot of a post he made on Facebook bashing me. He called me a selfish idiot and ended with stating he can't wait until I die so he can inherit millions and dance on my grave. Not sure why he thinks that. Most of the money will go to my parents and then the trust, along with a few charities. I have decided to revoke Dale's access to the trust altogether. I don't feel comfortable subsidizing the lifestyle of someone who is actively hoping for my death. Jessie feels bad now for sharing the post and is asking me to reconsider. Dale is fuming, and my aunt has some choice words leading me to wonder if I'm an idiot. Dale's father agrees with my decision, but much of our family is split. Dale is the first one to even attempt to take advantage. The others have requested funds during the pandemic to help with necessities like mortgage payments and food, and so far 2 of my nieces were given some money to help with school. The fact that he tried scamming and taking advantage of something meant to help the whole family hurt worse than the Facebook posts, honestly. Not the idiot. It is your money, and while the trust was mainly done to avoid their badgering, it was still a generous act to begin with, as they never had any right to the money. You allowed them access for emergencies, and Dale tried to take advantage of it and you. And even then, he still would have been allowed to use it if he didn't go on social media and post hate. It's his fault. Facebook is not private. He ran the risk of you seeing it. And even if he can't understand that actions have consequences, he shouldn't have access to your money, especially if he is waiting for you to die to get said money. The aunt clearly doesn't understand that access to your money is not a given, even if you are family. The dude got what he deserved being greedy. Him taking cash like that takes away from the trust as a whole. The other relatives should be annoyed. Honestly, revise your will so that your parents get X, and the rest goes where you want it, so that Dale and his family can't pressure your parents into giving them more money after you pass. Side note, make sure Dale knows he's not in your will, so he will stop wishing bad karma on you. I, 20 female, lost my dad 2 years ago, and since then it's been revealed that he had another daughter, Amanda, 25. Before my dad met my mom, he was involved with another woman and dumped her when he found out that she was engaged to another man. The guy was military and overseas, so my dad had no way of contacting him, and he didn't know the woman well enough to reach out to any mutual friends, although my dad did later regret not trying harder. Unbeknownst to my dad, he accidentally got her pregnant. She tried to pass Amanda off as her fiancés, but it didn't work. She eventually married someone else, but later divorced, and the guy completely cut contact. Because of this, Amanda has always wanted to know who my dad was and tried reaching out to him, but didn't have much luck. Again, they didn't know each other long. My dad wasn't from there. He moved away and changed his contact information. Eventually, Amanda got a hit through 23andMe through my cousin and reached out. By that time, my dad was already gone, but his parents, siblings, and their children were more than welcoming. My brother and I were pretty weirded out by this, and since our dad wasn't on her birth certificate, we didn't believe her until there was a DNA test. I wish I could say this was some magical moment where we all hugged and are now besties, but honestly, I don't feel this strong familial tie to her because I didn't grow up with her. My brother says he feels the same, but we both make an effort to be nice when she's around. Up until Amanda came around, I was my dad's only daughter, and because of this, he had a lot of daddy's favorite daughter types of things because I was his only daughter at the time. It was a fun little joke between us. Out of all the things he's given me with this theme, I cherish most a custom-made t-shirt he got me with a picture of us at a father-daughter dance when I was little, and the caption, "Daddy's #1 princess." It was one of the last things my dad ever gave me, and I love it very much. I never showed it to Amanda, but I guess someone else told her, and she gently confronted me about it and asked me to get rid of it and anything like this. She expressed how she's been in therapy to cope with never having a true father figure, that her actual father died never meeting her, and knowing that I was his favorite daughter really upset her. I told her that while I'm sad about the situation and won't ever bring it up around her, I'm not getting rid of it. I thought Amanda and I had an understanding until my aunt called and berated me for not being respectful to my sister's feelings, and that getting rid of a t-shirt that I don't even wear is a small sacrifice because I at least have the memories of having a loving father while Amanda doesn't. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Amanda's the one not respectful of your feelings. How can she ask you to get rid of your memories from your father? She just sounds jealous. If the family is coming after you, you should pack up these types of mementos and put them somewhere safe. One of them could take it upon themselves to get rid of something they think you shouldn't have. Not the idiot. Amanda is overstepping big time. Her response is genuinely unreasonable. Why wouldn't you be his favorite? You never knew her. She essentially wants you to get rid of almost everything your father gave you out of jealousy. That is disgusting. If I were you, I'd hide that stuff too when she's around, OP. You never know what some people will do. Not the idiot at all. Not even a little bit. You didn't go around flaunting this. In fact, you weren't even the person who told her about it. Not only was she entirely out of line in her request, but I would have been so freaking angry that she would have had the nerve to ask in the first place. Your aunt is even worse. I understand your sister is hurt that she never got to meet your father, But that's just it. She never even met him. You lived your entire life with this man. You had a bond that she never had and never will have. He had no idea she was even there. I'm angry and insulted for you. My daughter, 26, and I haven't spoken in years. When she was a teen, we found out she wasn't my biological daughter, and my wife had cheated on me years ago with a friend. As it turns out, this so-called friend was suddenly interested in playing dad. My wife and I divorced. My daughter learned the truth, and I told her I still loved her no matter what. But of course, she was interested now in getting to know her biological father, and while it hurt, I tried to accept that. She started pulling away from me after that. Even when still trying to do things together as a family, she was no longer interested. The last straw was when she was 20 and living at my house. We were arguing because she dropped from her college courses, hadn't done anything for 3 months, and was mad because I told her she needed to go to school or work if she wanted to stay here for free. She told me I'm not her real dad, so stop pretending like I am, and she'll go stay with her real father. That broke me, honestly, but I told her if that's how she feels, there's really nothing left to say between us, and she did move out to go live with him. I was very depressed for a long time, drank too much. My son, 24, was my only reason to keep moving forward. For the first couple of years, I reached out to my daughter. She wanted no contact, and I learned to accept that and move on. It helped me to find more peace in my life. My son stopped talking to her for a while over this and was angry with her. They still chat sometimes, which doesn't bother me at all. Through him, I learned her biological father died in 2019. Also that she's engaged. She reached out to me, first that she knows we haven't talked in a while, but wants to ask me if I'd be willing to walk her down the aisle. After a pretty long message about how she hurt me with her actions, I told her no. She didn't want me to be her father anymore, so I learned to no longer view her as my daughter. This turned into a fight between us because, according to her, it's not her fault she wanted to know her real dad. And I agreed with her, it's not. But it was her fault how she treated me ever since. In my mind, I know if he hadn't passed, we wouldn't be even speaking right now. I told her I hoped she enjoyed her wedding, but I want no part of it or her life. My son told me she's ranting to the family that I'm ruining her day, and she thought parents should love their kids unconditionally. My brothers seem to think that I'm an idiot, and this is my chance to be in her life again, but I have no interest in that. It still seems everyone has a strong opinion that I'm making it difficult for my daughter to have the wedding she wants, when it would mean a lot to her. Of course, my son is on my side, but the comments are still wearing me down. And just for the sake of my sanity, am I being an idiot? Not the idiot. You attempted contact throughout the years, but it wasn't you that became distant. It was your daughter. She wanted to get to know her bio dad. Nothing wrong with that. But at the expense of becoming distant and eventually having no contact with you, her dad, who had been there for her since she was born. Now the bio dad isn't there to walk her down the aisle. OP, if she wanted you at her wedding, you would have gotten an invitation and not become a stand-in for her deceased bio dad. So why can't her brother walk her down the aisle? I think she wants her wedding to look good, irrespective of how you feel. She's probably desperate because she doesn't want her in-laws to know what an idiot she was to her dad. Why not just ask her mom? Why is she so desperate to have her dad? And he was her dad for 20 years. Walk her down the aisle when she has nothing to do with him for 6 years. There must be a reason. Maybe it isn't her in-laws or husband she wants to impress. Maybe just social media. But there is a reason, and repairing the relationship with her dad isn't it. You are not the idiot, OP.